I'd like to welcome all the guests and audience, including our chief, Chet Brooks, and Leslie Young from the county department, and Charlotte, chief's administrative assistant, and our famous cameraman, Johnny.
No, I'm Leslie. That's Charlotte. Yes.
Approve the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Yes, so moved.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. We'll call for the question. All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Approval of the minutes of the last meeting, March 2019 minutes. Has everybody had a chance to read them? They were set out well in advance. Does anybody see any corrections? If not, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting,
Moved.
March 20th, 2019. Did you move on that, Frank? Got a motion by Roger, have a second.
Second.
Okay, we'll call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries to approve the minutes. Treasurer's report, which would be me also. I'm gonna do the same thing as I always do. I'm gonna also give it by the total, and I'm gonna also give it by committee. At the start, 2/28, we had $4,350,725.81. At the end of March, we had $4,410,718.49 for a gain of $59,992.68, which is not too bad for 1 month. We just hope the positives outweigh the negatives this year, and so far they have. We've had 3 positives in a row, so it's looking good for this year. By committees, budget for reinvestments, $15,347.62, and they still have the same amount. Cultural preservation, carry forward was $32,300.42. Their budget was $15,347.62. Expenditures year to date, $2,330.63. They have a remaining balance of $45,317.41. Community services, carry forward, we had $11,282.23. Our budget was $38,369.06. Year-to-date expenditures, $4,900.54. Leaves us a balance of $44,750.75. Education committee had carry forward, which was an unrestricted donation of $125. Their budget was $46,042.87. Expenditures year-to-date, $22,340.00. Leaves a balance of $23,827.87, which you all can see the fall scholarships will probably eat up every bit of that. That's why we suspended all other education programs on the trust side. Elders Committee, carry forward to $16,214.93. The budget was $7,673.81. Expenditures year-to-date, $348.13. Leaves a balance of $23,540.61. You elders need to start spending some money, more money than Brahms or something. Veterans Committee, Carry forward was 8,826.04. Their budget was 7,673.81. Expenditures year-to-date, $575.11. Their balance is $15,924.74. Tribal operations, budget is $23,021.45. The balance is $23,021.45, and that will roll over to the tribe. That's to help pay the accounting department and some of the help we get from the accounting department. That's my treasurer's report.
Mr. Chairman, would you mind feeding the veterans any expenditures?
Do what now?
Would you mind repeating?
The expenditures
Yeah.
on the Veterans Committee?
Yes.
Veterans, $575.11. $575.11. Did I repeat that wrong the first time?
Well, it did something. Figures didn't come out the same. But
$575.11. That's all I have on financials. Anybody else?
On the reinvestment
Yes, sir.
portion of it,
Yes, sir.
there was no carry forward. Why was that?
I'll show you exactly why, John. I'll answer your question. I didn't know it myself till I looked it up. Reinvestment, 10%. The reinvestment program will provide continuous growth of the financial reserve and enhance the concept of perpetual funding sources for the Delaware people. The board, on an annual basis, will reinvest 10% of the annual accumulated interest on the principal amount back into the principal. It has to go right back into the principal.
That is the way it reads, Joe.
Read it,
It
read
doesn't,
it yourself.
it says right there, I'm looking at tribal operations. We're the one that paid the tribal operation to help us do our business, not their business. This is what the tribal operation 15% says.
We're on
But anyway, I
reinvestment.
want to go back to my budget.
Chair, may I?
Yes, ma'am.
It was brought up by the auditor that we had put the information into the investment side, but we had not put it into the budget side. Both the FY17 and FY18 funds for the reinvestment committee were expended and used to reinvest not only in 3 different railroad stocks, but at the discretion of Scott Thompson in some bonds and mutual funds. The auditor brought this up just recently. Therefore, we had to change the information on the financial reports to show that that money had been used in the previous year. It was March of 2018.
So what happened to it? What happened to the money?
We spent it.
You spent it on what?
It's back in the
3
principal.
railroad stocks.
Did we lose it all? Is that what you're saying? We lost all
No,
the
sir,
railroad
we
stock?
did not lose it all. It's still sitting in the investment account. And the railroads have been making money as well as the mutual funds and the bonds.
Why isn't it included here on the reinvestment portion?
It is
It
included.
doesn't, there's no carryover, there's no explanation that has to be included in the reinvestment. I'm under the impression, last month, we had a carryover 29,000, 15,000 budget with a balance of 44,000. Now, this month, we come up,
May I
with
approach?
15,000. So we're missing $30,000 here.
Here's a copy of the letter from Mary Jo Peterson instructing Scott Thompson of the
Yes.
investment to use both the FY17 carryover and the FY18 budget to purchase not only 3 of the railroad stocks,
Okay,
but at his discretion in the last, to invest in not risky, but at his discretion to invest the remainder. So it was invested
so it's
in
under, it's
March.
under my discretion whether I want to continue on with this railroad stock or put it back in there, in the report here on the investment account itself, reinvestment account.
So
No,
that,
it's
that
not
was
a-
done.
I have the authority to do that. I'm the chairman of the reinvestment committee.
Yes, sir, you are.
Anything over $5,000 has to be approved by this whole trust board, John.
For,
It's
I'm
not
not
at
spending
your
anything,
discretion.
Joe.
But it's
I'm
not
getting
at your
accounting
discretion.
of where this money's at.
It's not at your discretion. Read the reinvestment regulation.
It's my
what it says.
discretion.
No,
I want
it's
to-
not at your discretion.
How I want to, I'm the chairman of the board, my board is one to determine the railroad stop.
You still gotta go by the trust document, what it says.
We're going by
I
the
don't care if
trust
you are
document.
chairman of the
We are going
reinvestment.
by the trust
No, we're
document,
not.
Joe.
It says accumulated interest on the principal amount goes back into the principal at
Accumulated
the
interest.
end of
What
each
is the
year.
interest? What is the interest?
It
It doesn't
says
say the whole thing. It says interest.
Accumulated interest on the principal amount back into the principal,
Yes.
which would be everything the reinvestment earned that year.
Would be how much?
It goes
What is our
back,
earnings? What does our earnings say
All
with
of
the
it.
railroad?
all of it,
All
whatever
of
the
the
budget was.
15,000?
Whatever the budget was goes back
No, it
into the
doesn't say
principal.
that, Joe. You are wrong. You are absolutely wrong. If you read that trust board document, it doesn't say that like that.
The board on
It
an
says the
annual
interest.
basis will
It doesn't say the whole
reinvest
principal, it says the
10%.
interest.
It says will reinvest 10% of the annual
Interest.
accumulated interest
There you go,
on the
10%.
principal amount back into the principal.
We invested 10% back of what we made on my reinvestment back into the principal.
No, we're reinvesting 10% of what the
That's what it
budget
said,
was.
10% of
Goes
what my
back into
budget
the
was,
principal.
back into the main account.
That's not
Main
true,
principal.
it's 10% period, it goes back into the principal.
Well, I think we're gonna, Joe,
We'll have to get a legal- we'll have-
debated
we'll have
it,
to
we're
get a-
gonna need a different interpretation.
We'll have to
You
get-
reading it one way,
we'll
I'm
have-
seeing it and reading it
we'll have to
another
get a
way.
legal opinion.
We need another opinion, and I understand what she said, we invested the money. It's not showed here, the 29,000 is not showing,
Because
that's carried
we
over from
invested
last
it.
month, it's not shown here.
That's
She's
how-
saying that all of a sudden it just disappeared because we had to account for the money that we invested in our
Railroad
stocks, in the
stocks.
railroad stocks.
This
It-
whole trust board voted to invest that in railroad stocks because it was over $5,000, which has to be approved by this whole board. It is not at your discretion.
I don't think, when we reinvested in that, you showed me the minutes that the whole board did that. Joe.
I'm
You
sure
showed me
they're
the
there
minutes.
when
You
we
showed me
voted
the
on it.
minutes, because I don't recall the board taking up that matter. It wasn't on the agenda, it wasn't taken up that we all vote on what we want to reinvest it in. We had reinvested in it, and it went through the accounting, and they went and gave the
It was
information to the
discussed
bank.
and voted on, and if you can show me different in the minutes.
I'm saying it
What I'm
wasn't.
saying, I'm saying it was.
Then we got another different
This
opinion
whole
here.
trust board voted on it, because I remember.
If
Because
you
they had to
remember,
vote on it.
what date was it, or what
They
month
had to
was it?
vote on it because it was about
Let's see
$5,000.
here, we can find out.
Mary Jo Peterson brought it to this board, and John, I'm not gonna argue with you anymore. I'm done with the treasurer's report, I'm gonna move on to community services.
You're out of order, Joe.
No, I'm not.
We're still in discussion,
No, I'm not.
we're still in discussion here.
No,
You're
I'm
out of
not.
order.
You're out of order.
Well, I think we need to take.
You're challenging the trust document. Get a legal opinion and show me what it says.
It says right
I'm
here.
not gonna argue with you anymore. We're moving on. Community
That
services,
case, Kay wanted to say something, Kay.
I think we need to table this till.
till we get a legal opinion,
Right.
Until we get a full board.
or till you get a legal opinion from a lawyer, which would be our tribal court.
Well, I move that we do that we get a legal opinion from our tribal courts. I'll make a motion that we get a legal opinion from our tribal court and take it to that.
Roger seconded. All in favor?
All right?
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions. Now I'm gonna move on. Community services report, which is in your all's packet. Do y'all have any questions on it? We had way too many burials this month, I know that. We had 7 burial assistants for $750 apiece, so for $5,250. We had 4 medical assistants for $404.33 for a total of $5,654.33. Does anybody have any questions on the community services report?
Are you the chair of that,
I am.
you're the chair of the
I am.
committee?
Culture Preservation Committee. Homer resigned,
Yeah.
so who wants to give the cultural, it's in your packet, the report.
I'll do it.
Anybody has any questions, we could, some of us here are on that committee, so we can probably answer the questions.
Homer, talked about money that was set aside for committees and also about tribal memberships. There were tribal scholarships. He also mentioned that Mary Jo and Mary McCole had resigned from the trust board. They discussed stomp dance and Dewey. There was discussion about the food and who's in charge of the vendors and stuff. Jim Remender, I guess, we talked about the language project and the list of words that are added to the tribal website. He said that there was a correction made in one of the images in birds, whatever. Next was a discussion about the second Tuesday, and one of the things to do on that day, discuss is what will be done at the stomp dance this month. We also discussed the food to be served. And that was about it.
I'll add to that that the stomp dance this year was a big success. We probably had, I'm gonna guess anywhere, what, 150 to 175 people? And we had at least 15 leaders and more shell shakers than that, probably 20 shell shakers. So it was a real good success on the stomp dance for all of you who wasn't there.
Who you want to give thanks to who showed up, the shell shakers and the dancers?
Creek Nation was the main groups that showed up. We had 3 different groups of Creeks showed up, which they were invited previously. Duck Creek, there was 2 more groups. I can't remember the names of them. Do you, Roger? I can't remember the names of all 3 groups, but we had 3 groups.
Fish Pond was one of them.
Yeah, that was. We had 3 different groups, and in each group, there was at least 5 or 6 leaders and shell shakers, so it was quite a success.
Did you come last year?
Some of them did, but they had we set it on the wrong date last year. We had a conflicting date with one of their stomp dances. And this year, we checked to see what their schedule was. And so all their groups showed up this year. It was quite a success. Education Committee. Have nobody to give the report, but I will give it because I'm on that committee also. We have no applications, no activity. So the only education we're furnishing right now is higher scholarship, and it's not time for them applications yet, so we have no activity. Education. Elders Committee, Kay?
We took the elders to Skytube for their casino trip. They always provide us a $25 free play and a $10 food vouchers for from the Osages. And then we go to Brahms afterwards. That's Bonnie's favorite place. She's one of our elders, and she loves to go to the casino.
And Brahms.
And she can't miss her Brahms afterwards. She knows exactly what you get her. And then, in May 10th, we're gonna go to Downstream, and, go down there and play. We don't know anything about free plays or anything, so I told everybody they're gonna be on their own on that. And then we, present, the oldest, Delaware, a Pendleton blanket. And, I got the copy of some of the oldest Delawares. One is 104 years old, so I have to find out, where she lives and how we could contact her, or if she's still living, because we've got some lists on there that I've got about, I think there was like 7 of them on there that are over 100. And, then we want to present, the full-blood Delaware, full-blood oldest Delaware, the Pendleton blanket. And I know that we have at least 5 of them. So we're gonna try to contact them to find out who they all are, I mean, where they all live and everything, so we can present them a blanket and have maybe if they live a long ways, to have a travel expense for them to come up here to receive their Pendleton blanket. And then, outside of that, we was talking about a limo tour, to take a limo tour to the Osages, but, that's kind of canceled out, and we're gonna check out the Chickasaw, museum, see what their cultures are and everything, and, see how many are interested about going down there.
And that one, we was talking about spending the night.
Yeah, we'll spend the night
It'll
down
be
there.
an all-day
It'll be-
trip.
Yeah, it'll be, a Delaware with their spouse or their guest that would go down there. That way we wouldn't have to hurry up and come back, we just spend the night at the hotel, or maybe at the casino hotel, which they said is gonna be cheap, maybe be cheaper, and, Bonnie Jo's supposed to check on that to find out about that at our next meeting. And that's all I have.
Anybody have anything else they want to add to the elders committee or ask any questions?
I have a question. On that, limo tour, what was the cost of that per couple?
They were gonna check into it, to find out how much it was. And, some that was at the meeting has been on that tour, and they said that wasn't that interesting.
Yeah,
So-
anybody can go over there, you know, don't take a limo to go over there, that place.
Yeah, and, so that's why we checked onto the Chickasaw Museum to go down there and check out theirs, because I think they have a lot of things that's going on down there that would go through their little camp and their museum and everything, take a lot of time. So we just spend the night down there and then, go to the casino and take our time to come home.
Go to the casino, I didn't think you all liked to gamble.
Oh, they're all on their own on that one. But on the,
Is there
So that
bronze there?
that may be the
Bonnie
trip.
will find the bronze. Leave it to her, she will find the bronze.
Better be a bronze or Bonnie ain't gonna wanna go.
Yeah, let's see.
Okay, are you saying that, there may be, you may cancel out the limo tour and instead go to Chickasaw?
Right,
Okay, just
Right.
make sure, I just wanna get that straight,
Yeah, the elders, they already voted to cancel the limousine.
oh, they did, okay, it was still in here, I didn't know, I didn't go to their
but we
meeting.
have eight people that are over 100 years old on here, but they're not all full bloods. And then we have like, I think there was 4 or 5 people that are full bloods. And we want to honor, our full bloods for sure on that. But the oldest one is 104. Then we have 3 of them that's 101, and 3 that are 100.
Wow.
So we want to, honor those.
All of them?
Not all of them, we honor
We
once
should
every
all-
quarter. We honor them quarterly.
Every 3 months.
Every
Yeah.
3 months?
Yeah.
Okay, let's say, the sooner we get them honored, the better off, because, you know,
Yeah.
at that age, you know, there's no
Yeah.
tomorrow sometimes.
That's why we're
For
going.
all of us, that is, for Joe too, there's no tomorrow for Joe.
Yeah, But
Could be, but, of course, me too, Joe.
Well, nobody's killed me yet. I might be tougher than you think.
There you go, you are. We need a good example.
Elders. Okay, I'm gonna move on to reinvestment. John, you got any report?
Yes, I didn't bring the written report, but, we did go down and see, Melina DeLorean in Hominy. She had a food truck for sale. 2008, 18 footer, I think, or it was a 20 footer. It was a Hallmark trailer converted over into a food trailer, food court. She served, it was fully equipped. And she's wanting to get rid of it. She's going into a different business. She was wanting to get rid of it. And she offered it to us for $14,000. And I talked to her yesterday and said she would go down $12,000. She has some other people that is looking at it, and she said, I'm gonna give you guys that price. And, I'd like to hear something after, if you're interested. If the board is interested, if we want to pursue this type of proposition, then I think there's not too many people probably not that is familiar with the food truck and what they can do and what the type of money. I do have a business report, and I also have a financial report pertaining to the goals of the food service truck itself. Pending what we want to do here at the board. Now, given this news that I received here pertaining to the reinvestment budget, I was 44,000. Now I'm down to 15 again, and I was hoping that in itself it is going to be probably an entanglement, and to get that back into my budget, where it could be used maybe for reinvestment type of purposes such as this. And I don't know. This is all news to me that he. I don't know if he deliberately started checking things, doing things, wanted to kind of like take that out of my budget. Seems like anything that I do kind of come up with anything, there's always that opposition of any type of reinvestments. What they used to call that, constructive criticism of what's been happening in my particular case with reinvestment. I know our trust document is very, very vague. I was going to take our trust board to see the, so they can have hands-on and eyes on the truck itself, the trailer itself, and so they can make a determination exactly if it was even feasible. And my initial response from the people who went there, they were very favorable of us pursuing maybe that type of an interest. They said it has some possibilities. Now, as an example, I asked, and I don't know why I asked, but I did ask as a courtesy to Leslie, the financial officer for the tribe. And of course, we hired her too through our investment. We hired the tribe and their financial officers as well if I could feed my committee when they go down there. I said, we're going to miss dinner. Can I feed my committee dinner while we're down there making this business decision? And she came up with a trust document, and she gave me the reinvestment number 7 and the reinvestment information in one sentence, and said, no, you can't do that. You can't feed them. Anything you do with that money has to make a profit. And I said, by feeding those guys, you're not gonna be making no profit, you're gonna be wasting your money. Okay, there goes back to, there we go, there goes my money. But anyway, that's how vague the reinvestment sentence says. Now, I've heard both, it says in here too, when you talk about a food truck or some other type of business, it doesn't mention that in here. That in particular, those type of businesses in particular, it doesn't mention those. It's just a one little sentence here. It says the reinvestment shall provide continuous growth of financial services and enhance the concept of perpetual funding services for the Delaware people.
Where you kind of vague.
It is worded pretty vague. I agree with that.
Then, of course, this is where you came in here, Joe, said the board on an annual basis will reinvest 10% of the annual accumulated interest. The accumulated interest on that, say, the 15,000. If I got it invested and there's accumulated interest, say, of $1, then that goes back into the general fund. That's what it says here. The interest will be paid to the principal amount back into the principal.
We'll have to have a legal opinion on that.
Okay, we're gonna get a legal, but anyway, that's, now that, we come up with this, I don't wanna say it's a trickery of, getting this letter here, where we invested in the railroads, and so consequently, they took out any kind of reinvestment possibilities for this particular effort and endeavor. So,
John, I think if you go back and review the minutes, you'll see where you also voted.
yes,
by the railroad stocks.
I chaired this meeting, Joe. I chaired the meeting.
I mean, by the railroad
I
stocks.
chaired the meeting here on this, where we voted to do this. What we had voted to do back then, well, that was 2 years ago, so that was 15,000. So there's been 2 years since then, so that'd be another 30,000 that I should actually have on my books. I don't know where it happened to the rest of it, but we're gonna have to find out about it. You know, we're gonna have to find out about where all this reinvestment money has been going to, and what's been happening to it. All of a sudden, it shows up, there's nothing here now.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it appropriate for me to even ask a question?
Sure.
Ask
I'll allow it.
Well, are they common stocks?
Some of them, yes.
Okay.
Do what?
If some of these railroad stocks are common stocks, they don't pay interest, they pay dividends,
Dividends.
right? So dividends and interest, same thing in the trust
Okay.
document, yes? Okay, but it's gonna be a nominal amount. I would think that you bought them for capital appreciation purposes, right? You wanted them to go up in value. So it's a different kind of endeavor. If the food truck can make the trust word money, or it's a cultural thing of interest and so on, then it's a completely different kind of investment. And in any case, I would think that you could have a statement showing where these investments are, so that you have an
We do.
accounting of where that money is.
Harvest sends us a monthly statement showing exactly where our dividends, our profits, our stocks, our bonds, our mutuals, they come each year and explain it to us.
But, thank you, appreciate that information, you're right, we got a question about interest and dividends, see, because of this being so vague, it doesn't say anything about it doesn't say anything about some other issues either. This is one of the things that
The way, and this may not matter, it's just my opinion, the way I interpret the percentage that you budget out to each one of the committees is the 10% is what is budgeted to the reinvestment to actually reinvest back to the profit of the investment account. And that what Joe's point is that what you have as a budget every year is 10% of what, just like we give 15% to the preservation, that percentages are based on accumulated interest and dividends in order to budget.
Ask another question, is it all right? You
Yeah.
really don't have the profit per se until you sell those stocks, right? You have
Right.
to realize the gain, and so unless you close out your books
They
every single
work
year-
the budget gain off of fair market value.
Oh, I see,
So we
okay.
show, according to the increase in the fair market value is what their gain is,
Right, but it's a moving
or
target.
loss. Yes, it is.
Absolutely. How many trust board members? I think all of us went down there, Tommy, did we not?
Yes, yeah, all of us here would.
After researching it, okay, are you interested in a food truck at all?
Still there.
I think if we had the food truck, there are some things that had to be changed in there. There's some work that needs to be done, and I think that we need to look at other food trucks and see how much a new one would cost compared to this here one. Because I think if you look on there, you'll find out there's some brand new ones, and then you didn't have to fix them all up. Because this here one that I saw, I was impressed with it, and then after I got looking at it and talking to my son about it, there was a lot of changes that had to be done on it and everything, and I like the openness that it had, but there was gonna have to be more money spent to fix it all up.
Upgrade, yeah.
So, that 12,000 could come up to what a new one would come up to if we bought a brand new one. But I like the idea of having a food truck so that we could take it out different places to set up at different powwows or Indian summer or anything to make some money coming in. And I thought that was a good idea. But as far as trying to fix this one up, because there were several things that needed to be fixed, and like the stove, they had it was like a camping stove type deal that was on legs. It had no oven. It had a fryer. It was a little fryer, a double one, but there was two different. You couldn't make no taco bread because it's only this wide. So if he was gonna sell Indian tacos, you'd have to have another bigger fryer in there to fry the fried bread. So there was other stuff, and then up over top, they had a shelf up over the top of it, and if you put anything while traveling, it was just a shelf, no doors or anything. If you were traveling and had stuff up there, they would fall off, and it just needed to be a little bit,
Upgraded.
yes, and I thought, well, if you look up on, about other trailers, new ones, and compared to this 12,000, I think it was more than that. I think it was like 14,000 when we went down there. And then if we had to fix all that up and everything, then if you look up on the internet, it may be cheaper just to buy a brand new one that you don't have to fix up, and you know it's brand new, and that it's not have to fix that. There was something else that, because it had its own water tanks in there, but it didn't have no place, I didn't see no place on there where you can pull up to some place and hook your hose up to have water, running water in there instead of having these, your holding tanks for your water. Because we had one that we could just hook up to water and you didn't have to do that. And there was just a few issues that I thought in there, and after talking to my son about it, he remodels a lot of stuff, and he's a house builder, and he's done a lot of work for the Osages, so I know he knows what he was talking about, so I just wanted to bring that up.
Who would run it? Who would staff it? Who would staff the truck? Who would staff it?
Well, that's what we'd have to talk about if we did go into this, and then we would have to talk about who would be doing this, or who's qualified to doing that.
Does it take special qualifications?
Gotta have
Everybody's
a
over code, and you gotta have a health card, you gotta have
Code before.
And some towns require you to have a city license.
Yeah.
Some
I'm
towns,
Jennifer.
not all of them, not all of them require that.
Yeah, so you'd have to look more into it in order to, but just to go to different places and have your food truck and run it, you could make it some money. But you'd have to look, see who wants to go in and
That's why we
work.
the discussion.
Maybe we can have somebody do it twice a month, or somebody else do it the other twice a month, or whatever. But have somebody to oversee the whole thing.
You got anything else, Roger?
You-
Everybody knows I'm blunt to the point. I'm
Yeah.
not interested whatsoever, because I spent about 2 nights on the internet. You can buy a brand new one cheaper. You can buy used ones bigger than that one, fully equipped, that's only a couple of years old for $4,000. So I'm not interested in hers whatsoever.
Bill, I've also searched the internet, and, I didn't see anything in the price range you're talking about. But with what she said, I mean, an idea that what we can do outside of the box and thinking of always just.
I like that idea.
Just going to the bank and investing and going to the bank. Let's get out here and try to figure out some other type of adventures that we can get into that are money makers, and you're not losing anything on your investment. That's where I was coming from.
I personally like the idea myself,
And,
but after doing some research on it, I don't think it's feasible.
but, okay, Roger, you can go ahead and,
Well, I got a question whether we're, ought to be doing this as opposed to the tribal council. They're supposed to seek out the business.
Yes, they are.
you want, Bud?
They're supposed to seek out the business interests.
The tribal council?
The trust board did away with economic development in 2013 and gave it to the tribal council.
You can call it an economic development or whatever you want to. It can be referred to that, and it can be referred to a reinvestment project by our committee itself. Now, we don't try to say anything to any of our committees, whether it be the Veterans Committee, the Elders Committee, or any other committee. If they're wanting to invest into something, some kind of, we don't say, well, you can't do that, or the tribal council says, no, you're not supposed to be, no economic development stuff. You can't have no cakewalks. And, so that is vague in itself, that, well, they took it out, so we can't have any economic development. So, anyway, if that being the case, what I'll just tell the girl that, the board's not interested in, that's the way it sounds to me. Kay's kind of like questionable on it, and I looked at that too, and I looked into probably what we'd have to do to, how much more it was gonna cost to kind of fix it up for a fried bread making operation. And you were right about some of that stuff, because I talked to the 2 cooks who was gonna come on board to help us with the project itself, and they're fried bread making experts. But she's not gonna wait on us, so, we'll just go ahead and just, along with my money from the reinvestment that's missing, we'll just go ahead and throw that in the trash too, with that. But anyway, I know it's not missing, it's there, but, I can't figure out what the hell they did here. With the reinvestment money, since it's coming close to, we want to reinvest in something, let's make it disappear. But anyway, I'm finished here, Joe, that's my
I
report.
think our county department better do what the auditors tell them, or our tribe may not be in business next year. So I'm gonna back the county department on that reinvestment money. I'm gonna move on to tribal operations. Chief Brooks, do you have anything?
No report.
The way that works is 15% of the budget goes directly to the tribe to pay the accounting staff and some of the other expenses, like printing and copying and postage for the trust board. That's where that 15% goes directly to the tribe.
If you wanna read the, tribal operations 15% there, Joe, you can read that.
That's just what I did.
I didn't see you read that. I heard you have it, but. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Did I not just tell everybody that tribal operations is 15%, and it goes directly to the tribe and what it's spent for? Did I not just say that?
Yes.
These funds will be transferred to the tribal accounting department to provide administrative, accounting, and staff support for all trust programs.
That's exactly
For
what
all
they
trust
go for.
programs. Trust programs.
That's correct. That's what it goes for, which is the same thing as I said. I didn't read it word for word. If you want these things read word for word, John, I'll start letting you read them. Okay?
It's just a sickness.
I'm gonna move on to the Veterans Committee.
The Veterans Committee met at 18:30 hours. Kenny Brown, chairman. The beginning balance of the Veterans Trust is 16,319.85. The new balance is 16,260.75. Had a donation by Stephen Carroll of $100. And then the donation box totaled $38. Garage sale total was $57. RVS account balance, that read that? 15,508.59 with a deposit of $782. Seems like Homer has abandoned us. He's got the bid for Riverside brickwork. Bricks was engraved for the memorial wall to veterans. Steve Brown presented a formal copy of the Veterans Committee's Constitution and bylaws. I'm sure you'd be glad that you have them. And that's about it. They discussed powwow in May. And the committee's talked about doing a raffle as well, like bake sale to coincide with their auction. And the next meeting is April 23rd, 1600 hours. And that's it.
Unfinished business. Did everybody see the letter that Charlotte drafted to all of the committees? It was in the packet
Oh, yeah, when we asked them to.
that we discussed
Their
about.
reports.
It's in the trust document that every committee is required to give a report in the packet monthly. Is everybody still in agreement that that letter should be sent out? And should we wait and send it out till we have at least 6 members on the trust board? Or should we send it out now? I'm asking this trust board for guidance. Huh?
Now.
Send it out now. We need to delete Homer's name off of it then, and then the 4 of us need to sign it. And we did vote on that. So that's only unfinished business I had. Unless-
May I comment on that?
Sure.
Joe? Just for the audience, information, we wasn't getting a lot, reports, some reports I think it was one of our committees, we had a hard time getting some reports from in the past time frame, probably a year, 2 years. And so we wanted to do something, send out a letter to them, stating that their funding could be in jeopardy if they fail to give us monthly support as required by them. And I don't, if we put in there, since we have this, but anyway, she's doing it, you know, this, the tribal staff is putting together work pertaining to that, though, Judge.
She's got drafted where it takes all 4 of our signatures on it. Or actually, it's got 5 on it now, but we need to take, as everybody's seen, Homer Scott, one of our members of the trust board and chairman of our culture preservation, which he still is the chairman of culture preservation, has resigned from the trust board effective today. And we don't have to accept his resignation, it's automatic. He's going to work for Silver Dollar City in France.
Oh, yeah. I wonder what happened, why you leaving us?
Yeah. Very convenient since his girlfriend also lives there. And works for Silver Dollar City.
They've been
Joe, could I
asking
make a motion here? Are we into
Is
the,
this unfinished business or new business?
maybe we should go into business.
Anybody else have any unfinished business? Can anybody in the audience think of any unfinished business that we need to take care of first? Yes,
I
ma'am.
believe we should make sure that we mention to the committees that any of the resigned trust board members need to be either replaced or confirmed that they are still either a chair or a vice chair.
I agree.
Please.
I agree, and I think we're probably gonna take some action on that later today. Any other unfinished business?
It's been brought up before, and I could see the need is even worse, that we need some more check signers in there. Because I always wind up holding the bag with my check.
That is
They get it signed.
unfinished business.
Actually, that would be new business because we need the new members so we can authorize who will or will not be signing on the checkbook.
We need to wait till we see some of the people. Well, I can take care of one right now, under unfinished business, because we did discuss this previously. I'm gonna make a motion that Kay Anderson be added as a check signer, because she's here every day, almost every day, unless she has a doctor's appointment.
I suggest John be too. He lives across the block there.
Is that all right with you? I better check with her first. Is that all right with you if I'm a check writer, signer?
Makes no difference to me who
Takes two
signs off the
I wanna make
checks,
sure, cause,
that's,
I've been here for 2 years and I was on there before. I asked before several times and I was always ignored or wasn't wanted.
I
So,
follow
I
the
need to
instructions
find out
of the
what's
trust board.
Going on with the executive branch here, you know, where they stand.
Right now, my motion was just for Kay.
Good enough for me.
I think we ought to do them separately.
Okay,
Don't have a second?
second.
All right, all in favor of making Kay a check signer?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Now,
I make a motion, John Thomas be Harold County.
I'll second. Now we'll call for discussion. John? Will you check in with the county
Sure, I will.
every day
Sure,
to
okay.
see if they've got checks that need signing?
Okay, I will.
Because we've had that problem in the past. Somebody
I'm
wants to
just,
be a check signer.
Roger and I, we're just 2 minutes away, 2 or 3 minutes away if they need it, if they need it.
Every time I come up for lunch, I go into the county and see, you can ask Leslie, I go in there and check and see if they've got anything that needs signing. And I do that almost on a daily basis. So check signers, everybody needs to start checking with the county. But that's all the discussion I had. I'm gonna call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? John, you're a good check signer also.
Who was second on that?
I did,
Okay,
so we could go into discussion.
gotcha.
New business. Somebody wanted to bring, was it you? Wanted to
It's
bring
me.
some new business?
We're getting ready to probably make a decision on the new members. What I would like my motion to be is that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people here on on Homer's resignation, that we, suspend the 21-day rule, in order to allow, for us to fill the board with the members that we have now that's ready to,
We can't do that.
And do that.
According to the trust document, we have to give 21 days.
we have to give 21 days?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if we could have suspended it
We've got to
right
go,
away.
we've got to go by the trust document, because that was done by a referendum vote of all the people. This trust board doesn't have a right to override it.
So we can't fill his seat until next
No,
time.
but
Next-
we can fill
that's
it
fine.
too.
Sure, that's fine. I just
They've already.
thought maybe since we have the people here, why not go for it?
For us to make a decision, I'm gonna make a motion that we go into executive session.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? We're going into executive session. It's by alphabetical order, who'd be first?
Why?
Okay, that one. He kept showing her pictures,
Titus?
Titus.
and then women with their legs looked like that. And she said, that'd be a stay, and
Oh. Inappropriate, sounds like.
well,
Yeah.
not really,
Yeah.
I didn't think they was, but
Does that longer stick, does that help you stand up straighter? I seen advertising on TV where they was advertising canes, and they
Yeah.
trying to make them where they longer or taller, so a person can stand up straighter, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
I didn't know if that
It
was.
just keeps me standing up, period.
Let alone straight, huh?
Charlotte, can I have one more bottle of water? Yeah. Just take it. It's okay, Johnny's got it. Johnny on the spot.
Definitely, yeah.
I guess our next item of business is appointment of.
Okay, thank you.
I want to tell the current trust board members, I'm glad we